And hello, movie lovers, and welcome to the show. I actually have a very special guest with me. I have the privilege to be able to interview actor Scott Duenas. And I just want to say it was just an awesome honor and a privilege to be able to watch his film over the weekend. Even though it's a little bit early for Christmas, but still, I had a great time just watching his film. We're going to dive into that. We're going to dive into a little bit of Cobra Kai. We're just going to mix it up here on Movie Lovers Unite. So give Scott a warm welcome over here at Movie Lovers Unite, and let's do this. And hey, man, how's it going?
I'm doing really well, man. How about yourself?
I'm doing good. I was excited. You know what? I'm going to be honest with you. I've been excited for this interview since I got in touch with you. Such a publicist got in touch with me.
Oh, that's amazing. Thank you.
You're very welcome. And I just want to know something. Like, what do you? Whenever I was looking through your IMDb and everything, I know that you did basically you did a lot of soap operas and stuff like that. So my thing was this: do you prefer doing film or do you like doing the soap operas? What's your acting abilities and stuff?
Yeah, that's a good question. At this stage where, I'm a working actor, but I'm not, a superstar or movie star or anything yet. I really just go where the work takes me. You know what I mean? I've got my hat in the ring on stuff. And then if I get lucky enough to get hired, I go where it takes me. And my preferences kind of always change too with what's going on in my life, because they're so different. They move so different and they're shot so different. It sounds like I'm overthinking this, but it's the truth. Soap opera is fantastic when you need things that are really structured, because that's basically as close to like a 9-to-5 job as you're going to get. You go into a studio, it's all shot in the studio, nothing's on location. It's a 9-to-5 day, and it's Monday through Friday, and then you do your thing and you're good. And it's also like doing a play. It's just a lot of dialogue and on a stage, basically, which sometimes that's really great. I love it because you're getting to say a lot of dialogue and really act every day and go through a lot of pages. And it keeps you sharp, man. And then movies are a totally different thing. You could be going on location. The hours are wacky. They shoot whenever it's right for them. You could be starting your day at 3 a.m. or you could be starting it at noon, and location a lot on films. And a lot of the time it moves tremendously slower. It's like, the old rule is like about a page a day of the script you shoot. So it's a different thing, So, I love the one that we didn't mention. I really love doing episodic TV, especially now because the television is so good.
If you think about it, though, episodic TV is kind of like a movie in a sense, right? Yeah. But it's more layered, it's more structured that way. Yep. You know what I mean? I just like it a lot better, to be honest with you. I feel like TV has gotten better with their writing ability.
I think it's changed so much, and so much for the better. It's been incredible. So like when I very first started, it was like kind of movies were looked at as like the big leagues, and then TV was a cut below. But now with streaming and the way of the world, I think everyone's pretty much conceded that these streaming shows are just as good as if not better than a lot of movies that come out now. I mean, when you think of things like Game of Thrones and Sopranos and just such good television series out there.
Exactly, man. And you know what? As a matter of fact, I was going to talk to you about the Sopranos tonight too, because here's the thing. I loved you in Cobra Kai. I thought you did a very fantastic job in Cobra Kai.
Thank you.
And I thought to myself, you're very welcome. And I just want to say this too, like, from just your interviews, I've watched like a few interviews here and there just to get to know your personality, and also too, even I see with the movie and stuff like that. I just want to say this: I got this very humble kind of vibe from you. Like, you're very happy. You have a very good positive aura about yourself and everything. I just want to point that out there because you're very welcome. Because I just remember you being so happy at the fact that you got that role for Cobra Kai. And just how overjoyed I know I would be. I mean, if I got the call, hey, look, we want you on Cobra Kai to be a podcaster, I'm like, okay, I'm there. What do you want me to do? So I get that.
Yeah.
My thing is this though, man. Like, I was thinking, you know what? You could actually play another character if they really wanted you in there for another character role, because they did the same thing for Vito in The Sopranos. Because basically he was there for the pilot episode, or when Chrissy was over there trying to rob the pastry shop. Walks in.
Memory. Yes. Yeah. God, that would be amazing because, as you saw, I love the whole Karate Kid universe. I'm a fan of the show. I was a fan of the show before I got on that show, and I would love it. And I am realistic, and I know how everything always works. I actually am still friendly with the guys too, the showrunners and the guy that directed my episode. But just for whatever reason, it didn't work out to bring that character back. And would I have done it? I would have done it in a heartbeat, and I would have loved it. Does that happen? Sure. You said it. I'm one of the best shows ever created. And speaking of soaps, General Hospital, I've done 2 stints, and I played 2 separate characters. And I remember the first time around I did it, it was a pretty substantial character, and I was on it for a couple weeks. And I remember telling casting when they hired me the second time, I'm like, you can't, I'm not sounding like a jerk. Like, you guys don't know what you're doing here, but you guys do remember, 10 years ago, I played, Frank Roush on this. And they're like, yeah, but no one's going to remember. You're good, man. We love you too. And we need to. And I was like, oh, thank you. And then I was like, do I take that as a compliment or like a slight? Like, no one's going to remember you.
That'll be all right. There's no continuity, spontaneity.
Yeah.
All right.
But I'm happy. It's, when I get these jobs and I'm happy about them, it's genuine. I'm so happy. I'm so happy to be a part of this business, and I know how impossible it is. And just to be a small cog on the wheel makes me so happy, because I loved TV and movies growing up so much that just to be a part of this industry now is it's really is a dream come true. And I want, of course, do I want to work more, and do I want to make a little more money for my family? Yes, but I'm very happy to be a part of it, and very grateful for anything that comes to me in this business.
Exactly, man. Because here's the thing. I think that you have the capability of being bigger than what you are right now. Because you're very welcome. Because I'm just gonna be real with you. Just the way that you carry yourself and the way that you perform is just, I really like it. I really like the way, the energy and the vibe I got from watching you with the film I watched as well. And my wife's like, this is a Christmas movie. I was like, yeah, I know it's a Christmas movie.
That's a huge compliment, man. I really appreciate you saying that. I'm also thinking, I'm like, God, why isn't this guy my manager or agent? I love what he's saying, but no, it's
I'm being honest.
It's a very huge compliment. So I mean, I don't know what else to say, but thank you, and I really appreciate that too. I try and just do the best that I can, and also be, as like I said, grateful and humble, and just try and just fit in this industry. And I want to do more and bigger things, and yeah, absolutely. I try and stay positive. Will I? Yeah, I think so. I think things are going good right now, and if I keep I've had peaks and valleys since I started, and I think right now we're on an upward swing. And I like it. I want to see where things go, and I'm excited about the movie as well.
Right. Because here's the thing. I ended up interviewing Coleman Domingo. This is way before he wound up getting his Academy Award nomination. Mm-hmm. And he's saying that he actually said the same thing. He goes, look, I'm just happy to be able to just to act, to be able to do the abilities that I do, because I could basically be here one day and the next day it's all gone.
Yeah.
Just by one little small thing. And that's actually true. I mean, I've seen it happen with TV stars where someone's like, oh, this person's going to be rich because I seen them on. I said, no. I said, the royalties checks probably don't even come in at all. They're not even expecting maybe make it past 1 or 2 episodes or 1 season. So just because you see them in an episode, that could be it. That could be the end of their career.
Yeah.
I mean, and I just want to know, is it like scary at that point of like, how long am I going to be able to do this, and what if I'm going to be able to carry on or top another character?
Yeah, I've kind of resorted to the thinking of I'm in it. That's just, it is what it is. I'm in it, and I'm going to carry on no matter what happens. And I know I'm going to get my share of things. And if I didn't get this one, or if I'm in a slow time, I just know if I just keep grinding and keep doing things, I can do it. So I try not to get that scary thought, but I know exactly what you're saying. I've had lots of my friends or other people that I met, maybe an acting class or something that didn't make it through and ended up moving on to other things. Because it can be scary, not knowing where your next check's coming or not wanting to get stuck, waiting tables for the rest of your life. So it can be scary. Nothing wrong with waiting tables too. I did it a long time, so I don't mean it like that. But some people don't want to do it forever. So it can be a daunting process, but I've really tried to take myself out of that because I just don't want to be a worrier. And it's also something that coaches will tell you or people told you. And I remember at the beginning, like thinking how that's impossible. That they'll tell you, don't live and die with these auditions. Do your audition, do the best you can, put the best thing you can on tape or do the best you can in that office. And then you just got to leave it because after that, no matter what, you cannot think about it. You can't start looking at the clock going, well, I know it shoots next Wednesday, so I still have 3 days till here. And you can't check your emails over and over and over. You just have to leave it or you're going to go crazy or you are going to get that worry or that like, oh my God.
Anxiety of like, oh my gosh, did I blow this? And
yes.
And then you start second guessing yourself.
You second guess yourself. And now after I knew before just from the length of time and the amount of auditions and the amount of like really good people that would tell me the same thing. So I'm like, okay, this isn't BS because a lot of good people it's the same through line. And then now that I've been on the producer side of a couple things, I know too that it's like you see hundreds of actors for one role and only one person can get it. So everybody else is a no. So everybody else is thinking they did something wrong or they didn't. So many people are good and could have played the part, but you just, at the end of the day, you have to, for whatever, and there could be a million reasons that are out of your control. Most of the times they are out of your control. So all you can do is do your best. Obviously, once you hit that star level, this kind of goes away. It's just like, we want Chris Pratt. Here's the money we're going to offer. Exactly. That's it. You know what I mean? But when you're in the mid-level and you're in that zone where I am like, hey, he's that guy from that thing, or he's done one of those episodes, or one of these, or where I'm basically living paycheck to paycheck, but getting to make a living doing what I love, which is you just have to grind, man. You just have to do it, and you really do have to leave it. And I'm human. There's times when I get a really good audition and I don't get it. I'm like, oh my God, I would have loved to have it. Or, the day after, I'm like, God, I would love to get this. And you just kind of maybe glance at your phone, but you just catch yourself and say, you can't do that to yourself, or it's just going to wear you down to the nub, man.
Exactly. Because here's the thing. You have to walk in there, act, and basically say, you know what? I gave my best, my ability. And if they don't like my best, okay, well, there's other auditions here that I can go to.
Yes.
So therefore, I'm not going to worry about this one audition. So my thing is this. I bet, okay, I'm going to audition for this, but you're going to go on ahead and go through 3 or 4 other auditions before even worrying about that other one, because you'll have other ones that you're wanting to knock out, right? Or grind on first.
Yes. And just even if you think I'm not right for this, or, this isn't for me, or I did go in and just do your absolute best and don't be try not to be difficult, because I would say half my jobs were repeat call-ins from the same casting office. Because if you went in and did a good job, they say to themselves in their mental Rolodex, or they write it down, they go, Scott's not right for this, but he did a good job. I like what he did. I like the way he was in the office. We definitely put him on a little list here to call back for other things. And then, maybe a month later, a year later, 3 years later, that casting office calls you in for something, and then they end up hiring you. So you have to keep that in mind too, that this interview could also be like for future stuff that you're not even aware of, that isn't even created yet, that down the road someone's going to be like, oh, you remember we saw Scott for that part and he wasn't right, but we really liked him. We should bring him in for this. Oh, he'd be great for this. And that happens a lot. So you just gotta take every audition as a win, because there's thousands of actors out here that don't even get auditions, man. I always tell my mom when we talk, or a friend when I talk, I go, I don't even know how anybody gets a job, man. Because you have to get in here, get your foot in the door, get an agent, which is so hard to do. Then the agent has to be enough. He has to pitch you just to get you the audition against every other agency in LA. Then you have to get that audition, and then you get to start trying to beat out the actors. So
Right.
before you even get in the door, so I always say, man, it's amazing anybody even gets one of these things. So
Exactly.
it's a numbers
And,
game, man. It's a
right.
numbers game. Stay with it.
You see, that's like with me though, like with the podcast and everything too. I'm an indie podcaster and stuff
Right.
like that. But I have that niche of like, I love film. I like reviewing films. I like talking to other people and getting to know other people and cultures and things like that too. But you never know what door opens to another door. So
Mm-hmm.
it's like, you know what I'm saying? And that's what I like about you though too, because you're in that same kind of aspect of, you know what, this interview could lead you into this, or this audition could lead you into this. You just never know, because right now we only see basically a small pixel of what something could be. And then once we get to that thing, it's like, wait, this led me to here. And
Right.
I never thought it would actually lead me to here. I've been in situations like that too.
100% with what you do. Exactly. You got to put your best pod out there each and every time, because who knows the one day that someone important in your world stumbles across that podcast. And you
Exactly.
don't want that to be the day that you were like, I was mad that day, or I had a bad day, or I just wasn't feeling it, or I didn't like this person. You just got to work through that, because that could be the one that could have been your shot. You never know, and especially in this day and age with social media and YouTube and all that stuff, and podcasting and creating your own content. You just don't know, man. No, yeah, nobody might ever see it. It might be a zero thing, but somebody just might. And you hear these stories all the time. They may be unicorns, but they happen. Someone's got to hit the lottery each time. Someone cashes that ticket. So why not you one day? Why not me one day? So
right. And speaking of catching in lotto tickets and tickets, see, that's a segue. You see but anyways, but what I want to know is this, okay? So your film is called Final Wager.
Yes.
So, and you play a character named Chance. And you know what I thought that was very interesting is the fact that you have basically you have the guy from Donnie Brasco being your AA advisor, which I thought was hilarious. You actually have all I could think of was Donnie Brasco, a mobster,
Right.
being that was like my first instinct. I'm like, okay, I gotta put that aside because that's just typecasting, and that's wrong of me to even say that. But my thing was this: what was the most challenging thing when it came down to playing Chance? Was it the learning how to be addicted to gambling? Was it something in that kind of realm or anything like that? What was the most challenging thing for you?
The most challenging thing for me playing Chance, it's a good question, and the good stuff about Michael Madsen, by the way, too. But I think it was for me talking with the writer, Jerry Artukovich, who did a fantastic job. Me and him both, we definitely didn't want this to be like a lifetimey type of Christmas movie, and it's not at all. And we wanted to make Chance likable, but we didn't want to make him like totally milk toast, like, hey, oh honey, I'm not getting. We wanted him to have an edge to him and a little bit of smart assness to him. This was kind of a point where we kind of, and during the movie and editing, this is a good question, because we kind of had sides, the director and one of the producers, in a good way, always constructive way. And me and the writer thought he should be more dicky, for lack of a better word. And they thought he should be less dicky and more likable, because you have to like the main character. And we were like, you have to like him, but he can also, we kept thinking of like Deadpool. I mean, he's the hero and everything, but he's, and we said, so trying to balance and respect everybody's visions on how they saw Chance, and give them just enough of some smart alecky comments and just enough of also likable too, so people would like him. That was definitely the hardest balance to walk, because excuse me, I felt like I was maybe in jeopardy of never making a strong enough choice either way, and then kind of getting caught in the middle of like, and then the character's kind of like, I don't know, do I like him? Do I just
It's like, where does the character lay in between, basically? It's
so
which lines do I cross with it?
Yes, exactly. And you want you want him to succeed too, but then you're like, oh, we were rewarding addiction if he succeeds, and then if he doesn't succeed, you're like, well, what kind of kind of Christmas movie is that if he doesn't save the
I like the
day?
complexity of it though. I definitely
I
like
did.
the complexity and the challenge of that character was something that I found very interesting. It's like, well, he's fighting addiction. He's in AA for about 6 months, and he finds out his mom is basically going to get kicked out of the nursing home, which is Tom Arnold, who plays that role of the administrator over the nursing home, and you have to try and win 60K. So, it's like, okay, how can I get 60K within that radius? I have to
Right.
go back to gambling. I have no choice but to go back to gambling
No
because
choice.
this is my
Yep.
right. Because my girlfriend probably don't have that much. She only has the bar. So therefore I'm going to cause more friction on her and anxiety on her. So I'm just going to go ahead and do what I know. And this is what I know. Even though this might actually hurt me in my relationship, but I'm also helping my mom out at the same time.
Yes.
So, and I found myself rooting for the character
Oh, good.
versus it being where it's like, well, this guy's a degenerate gambler. He's all in it for
Mhm.
himself. No, he's not in it for himself. He's in it for his mom.
Right.
Even though he is hiding stuff from his girlfriend
Yeah.
and stuff like that and not being 100% honest with her, but his heart is true to his mom and he wants what's best for his mom. And I can
Yes.
relate to that because I'm actually going through the same thing because my dad passed away back in January.
I'm sorry.
So, all right. Thank you, man. I do appreciate it. But my thing is this. I'm actually having to find people that will actually take care of my mom and go into our regular house to try and take care of her. So I'm going through that same kind of deal in a sense that Chance is going through, just not the gambling part and her getting kicked out of the nursing home part, but just the anxieties of what's going to happen to my mom.
Right.
And that's the complexity I loved about Chance was that.
Yeah, I agree. And then everything you said is spot on. And then you add to it the Christmas aspect of this is that when he looks things up and realizes he's never lost a bet on Christmas, then it really sways because it's like, okay, if he knows he has this power, why wouldn't you use it? And then there's the side of it that's like, yeah, but then you're lying to the people that you love on this side, but it's to bail out the one that you love. And then also, it's like every addict, especially in gambling. Everyone thinks they have a system or a lucky shoe or a lucky way to do it. So, is he really? Did he really? Is it really a Christmas superpower, or is this another delusional thing from a guy?
That's something I was thinking too, as well. I was alluding to that too.
Yeah, it's like, is he just saying that so people will not think he's falling off the wagon, that he's just like, really, does he really just believe that, or is he really just saying that? There's a lot to it. So that's what I loved about the movie and playing it is that kind of thing. And I've seen it in kind of the reviews and the feedback and stuff like that. It kind of goes that way too. People are like, they're really rooting for him, or some people are like, it's just it's hard to root for somebody when they're battling addiction to fall back into addiction. I'm like, well, you might be taking it a little too seriously, but okay, right. Everyone's entitled to. It's a movie. We're all entitled to our opinions on a movie. It's art, and we're allowed to say what we want and think what we want. So I always have to, just be like, yes, okay, but let me explain something. Let me give you my side. But yeah, I love the script. Jerry did a great job, and Kenny Yates, the director, did a fantastic job bringing it to life, and it was amazing to play. It was really amazing to play.
And I'll be honest with you, man. I didn't feel like this was Hallmarky because I cannot stand Hallmark movies.
No offense to Hallmark.
Because here's the thing: it's like too happy, too cheery. We already know a woman's gonna break down. She's gonna run into a former lover. Then they're gonna fall in love. Oh wait, there's actually a love triangle. Then something else happens, but it's a Christmas movie. And with this could have actually been one of those movies where it's like, okay, I go to this bar all the time. I'm a degenerate gambler. Oh, I'm going to run into my ex-girlfriend while I'm also have this new girlfriend here. So it could actually run into that Hallmark type of thing. And it could also run into that, golly, Wally, I wonder, and just have that over the ship type of thing. It doesn't have that. And that's
I'm so glad you say that too, because we did absolutely not that there's not a place. And those movies are tremendously successful, and there's a place for those. We just didn't want that to be us. Yeah, we didn't want it to be like exactly what you said, like, oh, look at your love of your life was in front of your face the whole time. And we waited 90 minutes. We all knew the first 5 minutes when they met, like, oh, Steve, now he's weird. But we wanted it to be different. We wanted there to be some edgy stuff.
Even the conversations, though, man, like the regular conversations in the bar with the friends with Ty with breaking balls with whatever he wears. Then you, I'm actually originally from Boston, so this is actually how people from Boston talk to each other. I'm like, okay, I'm sold
Yeah.
on the chemistry between him and Ty. I definitely like the regular everyday conversation of stuff that happens
Yeah.
in a bar, and it actually doesn't feel forced. It actually feels like everyday conversation that I would actually break my friend's balls for something that he would wear, or this friend of my girlfriend who might be a PI and everything too, and breaking her balls too. So I love that whole entire dynamic of it. Everything just flowed really well. Nothing was
Thank you.
forced.
And I got to tell Kenny, the director, he's from Boston and he's a big Boston Bruins fan. And we had a hockey joke in there too, but it didn't make it. I think it was a little too crass. We had a good hockey joke in there. So, but yeah, it was a little too mean. So we cut it out. But I think it was something along the lines of like, you know, you have such a sweet mullet and such a punchable face. I'd like to do. It was something like that.
One
It
of
was
those hockey. Yeah. Okay. I
yeah.
gotcha.
And it just seemed too mean between the two characters at the time. So, but yeah, and then too, yeah, I have some relatives in Cape Cod actually too. So,
okay, yeah.
But yeah, it's definitely, and then the location was kind of ambiguous, but we feel we gave it like a little bit of an East Coast feel. Him being from Boston, he wanted that too.
I got that.
We put the jackets in and like the way the apartment looked and the way the bars and stuff looked. We tried a little bit. We didn't want it to look like
perfect.
LA. Yeah, I think so too. I think we really got lucky with the bar. It worked out great. And yeah, again, we didn't want it to look like an LA bar, and we didn't want it to look like a New York City bar. We wanted, yeah, I was pleased. It came out really nice.
Yeah, because there's this bar in Italian place I used to go to as a kid called Bonadino's. It's in Boston.
Mm-hmm.
And that was my favorite Italian restaurant because I just loved the lighting in it. I liked the whole Christmas light vibe in it, even though it's not Christmas time or anything. Yes. And it has this dark lighting about it, this little classy place that you can actually eat to bring your family. Yeah. And that's what it reminded me of. And I just fell in love with it. The bar felt more like a character in its own self. And yeah, I really liked it.
Yeah, that's exactly what we used to say too, that we should put the bar on the call sheet because he's definitely a character. It's definitely a character in the movie for sure. And it was perfect. It was just like you said, it had just enough Christmassy stuff to it, but not like complete overkill, like, and just kind of that town kind of vibe, like that locals bar kind of town vibe. Yeah, I dug it. It worked out perfect.
Another thing too is like the character of Ty. I just love that character too. So my thing was this: like, how did that come about? When you two, what was the chemistry like in the audition? That's what I want to know.
We didn't audition with each other. He's actually, Trevor is he's been a performer for a while. He's people that liked boy bands and stuff back in the day when they were really hot. Yeah. He was in like a boy band called O-Town, which is like no disrespect, boy band, if I'm not supposed to use that term anymore, but he was in a band and they were on that like second tier below New Kids and NSYNC and stuff. They were like on the level of like 98 Degrees, like right below them. Right. They were the first making the band. Remember when they used to put bands together? They were the very first one that was on ABC, the first reality show of making the band. And,
that's where I know him from. Okay, I thought he looked familiar because I remember whenever that was on there. Yeah.
He graduated from Cal State Fullerton, which is where the writer graduated from as well, too, Jerry. He graduated from Cal State Fullerton. And he said, I think, Trevor's trying to act now, too, on top of his music because they still tour. He wants to act too. And he's like, I think he'd be great for this role. And we were already auditioning people. And then I said, and he's like, and he's got that O-Town following. That wouldn't be such a bad thing. But the most important thing is that he can carry the role because he's the humor of the whole movie. He's got to carry the humor. Right. And so we watched the short film that he did, and he was funny in it. And then I flew out to Washington, D.C., where the writer lives. And then we went to Baltimore to see one of his shows. And then after the show, we just hung out all night and had dinner and spent the night and the next day together just to see how we got along that way. And we instantly clicked. And yeah, we just basically offered it to him then, and he read the script before and he loved it and he really wanted to play the part. And then lo and behold, he just knocked it out of the park too. I thought he was great. He's probably one of my favorite parts of the movie. So I get a lot of great feedback on Trevor. He had all the funny stuff to do, the funny lines, the funny outfits. He was a good balance. And yeah, my character, who's technically kind of like his brother or foster brother, whatever you want to call it, is just not very nice to him for the most of it. He breaks his balls, like you said. Me and my friends constantly are the same way too. But I think this was one level a little meaner, and Ty had a little bit of sadness too, that their relationships maybe not as good as it should be, and the fact that they were foster brothers. And
like an interesting play on it though, man. I really thought that was a little bit of a twist, and then you have another twist that happens later on in the movie that I didn't expect that happens.
That's the big one that we always try not to give away, because we're like,
but I'm not going to give that away. That's another thing I was going to say.
The Ty stuff, everything else is good. The Ty relationship, the fact that he can't lose a bet on Christmas, all that stuff is fair game in there. But yeah, that one twist, good call, is the one that we've been trying our best to keep under wraps, and it's a good little twist at the end. And yeah, but I love the foster dynamic too, and I love the foster dynamic that it was my mom's African American in this, and Ty's African American, and I'm not, and it was nice to have a reversal. It always seems to be like the nice white lady adopting the minority kids and bringing them in. It was the opposite. It was like she adopted me, and and it was cool. We didn't want to address it. We just wanted it to be how it was. Like, this is how it is. Everyone just, I thought it was a great dynamic. Another thing I liked a lot about Jerry's script, and another dynamic that Trevor knocked out of the park, man. He was funny, and he was good when he needed to be serious for a minute. So I'm happy with it. And yes, he just really went over the script with the writer, because they were really good friends. And then when I met him, and then we didn't read it together, but I saw him act, and then I saw him perform, and then we saw it, and we said, yeah, this guy can do it. This guy can play it. We're good. And he did. We didn't get it wrong. That's for sure.
No, definitely not. Like, the chemistry between y'all two was really good. I found myself laughing especially the bathroom scene where he takes him to the bathroom, and this other customer comes in and he's taking a crap inside the bathroom while they're trying to talk. I thought that was funny. I found myself laughing at it like several different times.
Oh, good.
So
good. That was Kenny, the director's idea to spice up the scene a little bit. It wasn't originally in the script, and he said, we need to add some type of more movement or action to this. And he goes, I got a great idea. And at first I'm like, yeah, is that a little too? And then when we did it, I'm like, no, that's funny. This is funny.
Because I was thinking of it like this. It's a bar, so therefore you're going to have customers coming in and out of the bathroom. So it makes it public domain. So I really like that. I definitely like the fact that, you have someone in there that's going to use the bathroom while these two are talking. And, Chance is not expecting anyone to talk, coming over there when they're talking.
I agree.
So, yeah.
It was a great job. It was well played by Kenny. Good job, Kenny.
But another thing, too, is you wind up having another actress on here. You actually have Jennifer Daly as well, that plays the PI, which I thought she did a really good job of playing the friend who's trying to be there for the girlfriend and trying to warn her, hey, look, he's back to gambling. And she's trying to give the boyfriend the benefit of the doubt. Oh, no, he's not back to doing that. He's not doing that.
Yeah.
And just okay. I'll let you. So I really like it.
She was fantastic. I think it was a dynamic that was totally needed in there. She basically just had Lisa's interests in mind, and that was it. You know what I mean? She wasn't trying to play the middle like Ty did, like I did. Like, it was just, it was, I have Lisa's back. That's it. I've seen this before because Lisa's dad had a gambling problem, and I'm not going to watch my best friend go down. And when I see you lying to her, I'm just going to tell her. And so him trying to balance that dynamic and sell to Stitch is the character that she played, that he really has this power. Just give me 24 hours. And her saying, no, it's ridiculous. I'm going to tell her. And then him walking that line of trying to keep it from Lisa, and her walking the line of when do I tell my friend, almost that whole thing of like, if you know your friend's girl is cheating on him, then when do you tell him right away? When do you tell him? Or and the girlfriend says, just give me a minute and you're like, no, I got to tell my friend. What kind of friend am I if I don't tell? So she's caught in that, and she did a great job, and she was kind of like the tough guy, and she had some very funny moments in it too. So I was so happy with Jennifer's performance as well. So good. Everyone was so good.
Yeah. Everybody really was. And I'm actually happy that they didn't give Ty a love interest would be her. Because that would be another thing that would be like a paint by the numbers kind of deal, was like, well, you have to have another love interest in here. So let's go ahead and throw Ty with the friend that doesn't really like Chance that much and do it that way. But I like it. And they both break each other's balls too. So I like the chemistry, and just leaving it at that. Just simplicity. That's all I like. Is a little bit of simplicity in some movies.
I like it too. A little simple, a little bit more. Give the audience, give us a little bit of credit. Like, we know that in real life, everybody in the group doesn't end up as a couple. It's like, well, they can still be friends and be in the group, but it doesn't mean that they all of a sudden on Christmas or the last scene under the mistletoe as well. Everyone looks down, sees them under the mistletoe, and goes, "Oh, wow, look at that! We didn't see that coming."
Exactly.
I liked it that I liked that they kept their relationship that pretty much the same all the way through.
And tell Kenny this for me though too, because just tell him that I really enjoyed the fact that you didn't treat the audience like they were stupid or anything. You gave us enough to care about the characters. He gave us enough to actually tell us what he wanted to tell us, and also give us a history with these characters without having to show us that much. And because the writing is so good and stuff like that, just tell Kenny that and Jerry that too for me.
I will absolutely tell them. They'll love to hear that. Absolutely.
Because I feel like nowadays directors, I got to show everything. No, you don't. Just give us the story. Yeah, you might need it for certain movies or whatever, but you don't have to have it in every movie. And I remember ranting one time, and I'm like, really? They have to show us? Okay, I guess I'll go on ahead and watch it then. And my wife's over there watching me. She's like, what's wrong with you? I'm like, this movie. She goes, why don't you turn it off? I said, I can't turn it off.
It's true. Give the audience a little more credit to figure some things out without every single little thing being explained to them on a platter type of thing.
Exactly.
I think that's what you're saying. So, yeah, Jerry is a big proponent of that, and Kenny did a wonderful job with it as well. Jerry's always a big proponent of it. I think sometimes when me and him argue about movies, that we watch together, I might be the one that kind of leans the other way. I'm like, yeah, but don't you think you should have done that? And he'd be like, no, why would they do that in there? Do you think that we can't understand that the guy lost his job without we have to see him get fired in the scene? I'm like, all right, you got a point, I guess. Yes, and he's the same way. He's like, you knew he was fired, right? I'm like, well, I did, and he's like, why do we need more? Right. Why do we need more exposition there? We don't need more exposition there. We just need, we need to push on with the story. So Jerry was really good about that. So that's good.
I agree. Sometimes I think more is less. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Sure.
But But is there like anything else that you have coming out as far as projects go, or anything like that, or you're because I know you're probably busy on General Hospital though too.
Yeah,
and stuff like that.
I am currently. We did another film that just wrapped in February, and this Jerry is back again. It was another script he wrote and he directed. He's directed his first one, and it's called Cat Crime Tales of the Occult. It's about 3 young podcasters. They're true crime podcasters, and it's they have a failing channel, and they get this stranger comes into their life and throws them like the biggest break of their life, and they go out to investigate this true crime, and they kind of get caught up in the middle of it, and then you have to kind of see where it goes from there. I'm in it. I play the town sheriff. And we have 3 really young, beautiful, and talented female leads. So I'm really excited. I got to play the sheriff, and I also was a producer on this one. And like I said, nice. Jerry wrote it and directed it, and he did a really good job. And the DP, the cinematographer, sorry if that sounds obnoxious, the DP, the guy who shot it was amazing. AJ, and we can't. It's currently in post production, so we can't wait for this to come out. We're hoping late this year or the beginning of 2025. So that's what I'm working on now. That's in post production, and I think I'm starting something else in like 2 weeks, but it's not official yet. So
Okay.
This sounds terrible too. I'm not really supposed to say anything, but it's another film, a comedy, playing a supporting part in it, and it's a film about monogamy and relationships and all that stuff. And I play a guy that cheats and does that, but it'll be really fun. I hope it comes through. It looks really good, and I hope it comes through. And that's what I got going right now. I got one finished and one hopefully getting ready to start, and I'm going from there.
All right. But I hope that you guys allow me to review that film that you have coming out and everything too, because I would like to actually take a look at that, because I like Jerry's writing as well. But my other thing too is, do you like producing, or would you rather just do the acting thing? That's another thing I wanted to ask you.
Yeah, I love it. I feel because I always feel self-conscious about saying, well, I produce, and then someone will say, one of my friends or something, go, well, you produce like 5 things now. He's like, you know what you're doing a little bit. I'm like, no, I don't. I still feel like I don't know anything what I'm doing. So I'm still like, I'm not self-conscious when it comes to acting anymore. I know what to do. I know where to go, hit my marks. I know my lines. I know what's going to happen. I know, I'm good. Like, I can go to set and I feel like I know everything. I'm not there yet on the production side. I still feel like it's way more responsibility, because you're the guy that everyone's looking to for the answers to everything and to problem solve everything. Where's the food today? Where's this person? Where's the, SAG called? They want, is the insurance right? All these things that you're like, I never thought about that before. I thought producers just, I'm like, geez, you're kind of, everyone's looking to you for the answers all the time. And then if you give yourself a little part in it too, I do like that. When I produce something, I can look at it and go, I want to do this part right here. I'm a producer. Can I have it? And then like, of course, yes, your movie. And I'm like, yeah, I'd like to play the sheriff. Can I play the sheriff? That doesn't always happen, but it helps. It helps.
Because some people's like, because I've seen where some people will slap the producer's name, like Spielberg. It's like, oh, Spielberg did that. I said, no, he just did that just to have a payday. That's it. I said, now if you're like, I said, I use this as an example. I said, now if you're a small indie person who's a producer, then yeah, you get the credits and stuff like that, and maybe a little bit of extra pay or something. But all Steven did was just like, you know what, it'd be better with my name on it, because people would gravitate towards me versus it being someone with a smaller name or whatever, for example.
1,000%. Yeah, people would kill to have Steven Spielberg. So yeah, and at some point when it's your production company, like Steven Spielberg, where they just have movies made under the umbrella of their company and he's going to get his name put up there in the producer credit. But you're also right that on these indie films, like, most of the time, if you see someone that's a producer on it, they've done like 5 jobs in one, because you're saving money and you're saving time and you're cutting corners, and you just have to be able to be valuable and do a little bit of everything, because you just don't have the huge crew and the huge amount of resources that you do on these bigger budget or studio backed movies like that. So yeah, I love it. I do want to continue to do it. And, it's cool to be able to create your own content and play roles that you want to play. And I would love to keep growing my teeny little production company. But in the meantime as well, I need to still be out there auditioning and getting my share of parts, so I can pay the bills and feed my kids.
Amen to that. But, dude, I just want to say this. Thank you so much for coming on here. And there is something I'm going to ask you, but it's going to be after the show, because there is a spoiler thing that I wanted to talk to you about with the ending of the movie.
Sure.
Because there was something I was questioning about. My wife was like, that's how they ended it? I'm like, well, I need to ask you this question, because it's been, I've been going through this at work all day. I'm like, well, what does that mean? And stuff like that. So we're going to talk about that off the record and everything. So, guys, yeah, me too. I'm enjoying this conversation. I want to actually talk to you a little bit more. But guys, look, go over to Rossi's Clubhouse in a few minutes. That's another show that I produce, and I also do her shorts for her and stuff like that. She's also my co-host here at Movie Lovers Unite. She's going to be interviewing an indie rap artist from Sacramento. This is a Sacramento-based podcast. She's going to be interviewing Affiliado, aka Sack God. So go on ahead and check her out. And guys, don't forget I actually have a couple of shows coming up Wednesday night, 8 o'clock Central Time, 9 o'clock Eastern Time. I will be doing Superbad. I'm going to be reviewing that film with Rossi. Thursday, I also have another show I'm preparing for Friday, which is going to be another interview. And Saturday, I actually have another show that I'm going to be doing. I believe that's when we're going to, you know what, just TBA on that. But Sunday night, I'm going to be doing Bad Boys 1 with Kib from Unfiltered Studios. That's a little studio podcasting place that we're from. So go ahead, get your Hypno Wellness on the podcast over there. Also, too, listen to this Stupid History Minute with Kib. He puts out a great 1 minute podcast episode of talking about different pop culture stuff for the Stupid History Minute. And also, too, check out the Sleepy G Show. And always, until next time, guys, have a great and safe night. And we'll catch you guys on the next one.